Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Now, what is this accrual concept? Let us sort of sit back and discuss what is this accrual concept out there. I am going to discuss with the help of an example. And let us look at FY 22-23. That means for I'm going to write the explanation only now, only once, only today. In future, I am not going to write the explanation. Reason for you to understand, that means April 1, 2022 to March 31st, 2023. I have written this explanation only for this time out there. I am not going to write it in future. For you to, this is what we call it as FY 22-23. In the financial year FY 22-23, on 15th of March 2023, you sell goods for 50,000 on 30-day credit. On 18th of March 2023, I buy raw materials for 25,000 on a 45-day credit. Third transaction, 10th of April 2022, please note, received cash of rupees 1 lakh on a sale in FY 21-22. 18th April, sorry, I do not want to keep the same date, let me change the date. Okay. 20th April 2022, paid cash of rupees 50,000 for purchase made in FY 21-22. I have given you 4 transactions out there. Now, the first and foremost question, will this transaction, that is the first transaction which I am circling, impact the financial statement or the profit and loss statement for the year 22-23? I repeat, will this first transaction which I have circled, will it impact the financial statement, that is, I mean to say the profit and loss statement for the year, for the financial year 22-23? That means impact in the sense, I have sold goods of 50,000. Will it be added as a revenue in the year 22, financial year 22-23? Or will it be, or will it not be? That is all my question. It is a sale of good that has taken place for 50,000 on a 30-day credit, taken place on 15th of March 2023. Now, will this become part of the revenue for the financial year 22-23, or will it become a part of the revenue in the next financial year, because you are going to receive money only in the next financial year, 15th of March 2023. You will receive cash 30 days down the line. That means you will receive cash on 14th of April 2023. 14th of April 2023 is the next financial year, FY 23-24. So, now question is, will this impact, will this be added as a revenue or not? As per accrual principle, the sale has accrued, the ownership of the goods has transferred. So, you are eligible to get the money. You can get the money in the next financial year, I do not care, but the transaction has taken place. What is the transaction? The sale is the transaction that has taken place. That means what? Sale has accrued. So, what happens? This amount of 50,000 will become part of the revenue for the financial year 22-23, part of the revenue for the financial year 22-23, accrual concept. Now, one can argue, sir, why should I record? Because I have not received cash. When we say accrual concept is not based on actuals, cash coming in or cash going out. No, it is based on whether this as revenue has accrued, whether ownership has transferred. Because in this particular case, on 15th of March 2023, the sale has taken place. I have pushed the goods to that fellow, the buyer has taken possession of the goods. If the goods gets destroyed in fire on the way, if the goods gets damaged, whatever it is the problem of the buyer, it is not my problem. So, what happens? The buyer will have to pay me the money. He owes me the money of 50,000 because he has taken possession of the goods for 50,000 out there. So, what happens? The event has occurred. When the event has occurred, the sale has occurred, it is a transaction which has taken place in the financial year 22-23, FY 22-23, because it is on 15th of March 2023. So, it will become part of the revenue of the financial year 22-23. Immediately I know you will have a doubt. Sir, what happens if that fellow does not pay? He declares insolvency. If he does not pay, if he declares insolvency, if you are not able to receive in the financial year 23-24, we will write it as a loss in the financial year 23-24. But as far as financial year 22-23 is concerned, the sale has taken place, ownership has transferred, transaction has occurred, it becomes a revenue for the financial year 22-23, and that is what we call it as, it has accrued, ACC or UED, right? Am I right with the spelling? Yeah, I am sorry, I just have to keep checking with my TAs. So, revenue has accrued. Now, I go to the next transaction. I'm going to spend a few minutes on this. 18th of March, I bought raw material for 20,000 on a 45-day credit. When it is on 45-day credit, I will have to pay the money of 25,000 rupees only on 2nd of May 2023. That is in the financial year 23-24. I repeat, I will have to pay the money only on 2nd of May 2023. That means in the financial year 23-24. But when has the purchase occurred? The purchase has occurred in the financial year 22-23. I have taken possession of the goods. So, I am liable to pay. Sir, what if the goods are damaged? So, you will return the goods and he will give the money. That is a different transaction. If the goods are damaged, you returning the goods is a different transaction. As of today, transaction is what? He has sold, you have bought, you have taken possession of the goods, you have taken ownership of the goods. The transaction has occurred. So, when the transaction has occurred, the expenditure has again accrued. The expenditure has again accrued. So, what happens? It becomes an expenditure for the financial year 22-23 bought. I mean, in this particular case, I will assume that it is also used in the same financial year. That is where it becomes an expenditure. If it is not used, it becomes an asset. So, that is okay. If it is bought and then buy raw materials, buy, I will say, I will add one more, buy and use. Buy and use the raw material for of 25,000 on a 45-day credit out there. I have bought and used it also in the financial year. So what has happened? The goods has come in. I have taken ownership of the good. Money I have not paid. That is okay, but I am liable to pay. So what has happened? I have used the good, so it has become an expenditure. Which year? Financial year 22-23. FY 22-23, it has become an expenditure for me. So expenditure is accrued. So when we say profit and loss statement or income statement, it is never on cash basis unless until specified. It is always on accrual basis. Income has accrued, expenditure is accrued. That's all. We are not worried about actual cash going out and cash coming in. We are not worried about the cash flow at all here. We are worried about income or expenditure that is only accruing out there. Accrued. Even if you look at, for example, an interest certificate, normally what happens for income tax filing, you will go to your bank and ask for an interest certificate. Imagine you have some half a dozen FDs, fixed deposits in a bank, and ask for an interest certificate from a bank at the end of the financial year. They will give you an interest certificate which says interest paid in the financial year, so much. Interest accrued in the financial year, so much. Still, that means what happens? It has accrued. But for example, let us say the bank pays interest only on 30th of June and 31st of December. Let us keep it that way. The bank pays interest only on 30th of June and 31st of December, or half yearly interest. I would say you go on March 31st and I say, give me the interest certificate for the year 22-23. The bank will say, for the financial year 22-23, April to December, whatever the interest that they have paid, previous year they would have paid some, whatever it is, whatever the interest that is pertaining to the April to December, whatever they have paid, they will say interest paid so much. Jan to March, they have not paid you interest, they will pay only in June. What is the interest that has accrued that they are liable to pay for the month of January, February, March? The interest accrued, they will write it as interest accrued. So overall interest for the financial year is what you have received plus what has accrued for that financial year. That is what we talk about, accrued. Now I take the third example in this particular case. I am going to use a very different color out here. 10th April 2022, received a cash of 1 lakh on a sale in financial year 21-22. This sale has taken place when? Financial year 21-22. You have received cash today, agreed. Is it becoming revenue this year? No. When did the sale take place? 21-22. So when did it become revenue? It became revenue in the year 21-22, not in the current year. Current year you have only received cash. Cash flow statement will worry. As far as profit and loss or income statement is concerned, we will not worry about it because the money of 1 lakh what you have received is not related to a transaction that has taken place in the FY 22-23, whereas it relates to a transaction that has taken place in the year 21-22. So I will not record it anywhere in the P&L or the income statement. So what happens at 1 lakh? Will we not record it? We will record it. I am not saying we will not record it, but we will not record it in the P&L, the profit and loss or the income statement. That's all what I said. I never said we will not record it. I said that we will not record it in the profit and loss or the income statement. So that because why? Because this 1 lakh does not pertain to the financial year 22-23. That is what we are discussing. It pertains to the financial year 21-22. So what are we preparing? We are preparing a profit and loss statement for the financial year 22-23, not 21-22. So I will not even touch upon this. So the same case in this particular case, the next one also, if I'm going to say this, on what do you call it as paid cash for the purchases that you have made in FY 21-22. You have paid cash has gone out, I will record it, that's okay. But is that expenditure pertaining to the financial year 22-23? No, that expenditure is pertaining to the financial year 21-22. So it will not find any place in the profit and loss statement for the year 22-23. I repeat, it will not find any place in the financial statement or the profit and loss statement for the year 22-23 for a simple reason that this payment is pertaining to a transaction which has taken place in 21-22, not 22-23. So, this is what we call it as accrual concept. Accrual means during the time period for which you are preparing the financial statement, whatever income or whatever expenditure that has accrued, irrespective of whether you have received or not. I repeat, whatever income or expenditure that has accrued, irrespective of that is received or not, we will record it. So, profit and loss statement when we talk about is always on the basis of what do you call it as an accrual basis. And profit and loss statement, sorry, I am going to use a different color, this color is too light. Profit and loss statement is always for a specified time period. When I say specified time period, is it always for a financial year? It can be for a financial year, it can be for a quarter. I will say 22-23 Q1. That means for a period April, May, June of the financial year 22-23. Now, I will say Q2 of 22-23. Now, July, August, September. So, it can be for a specified period in this particular case out there. It can be for a specified period. I will say half year 22-23. Sorry. Half year from 22-23. So, what happens? 1st April 22, so September 30th 2022 out there. So, for the half year, it is always for a specified time period. They will say FY, they will say FY 22-23. That means what? If it is FY 22-23, it is 1st April 2022 to 31st of March 2023. Always for a specified period out there. Always for a specified period. Now, what does it record? It records all the revenues and all the expenditures which have accrued. That is all. All the revenues and all the expenditures that have accrued is all that is recorded in the profit and loss or the income statement out there. We will take up more examples. I am still doing theory. The next financial statement what we talk about is what we call it as the balance sheet. Now, what is the difference between the income and expenditure or the profit and loss statement and the balance sheet? The balance sheet tells you only two things: what you own and what you owe. That is all. As at a particular point of time. As at a particular point of time. As of today, yes, what you own and what you owe. As of tomorrow, yes, what you own and what you owe. As of yesterday, yes, what you own and what you owe out there. That is all what the balance sheet gives. Now, what do you mean, sir, by own and owe out there? Is there any difference? For example, I start a company out there on my own. Now, what I own, is it what I own or what the business owns? Please note, the next concept what we talk about is what we call it as entity concept. What is this entity concept? The business or the organization for which you are preparing the profit and loss and the balance sheet is an independent entity and you are an independent entity. I start a business. Arun Kumar starts a business called Arun Kumar and Co. Arun Kumar is a separate entity. Arun Kumar and Co is a separate non-living entity out there. So, what happens? Whatever assets Arun Kumar owns is what Arun Kumar owns. Whatever assets owned by Arun Kumar and Co is owned by Arun Kumar and Co. These two cannot be interchanged, cannot be mixed out there. That is independent. That is what we say entity concept. It is a separate entity. So, when we prepare a revenue profit and loss statement in the previous or the income statement, like I discussed before, or the balance sheet, we are preparing for the entity and we are preparing for the revenue that has accrued for the entity, the expenditure that has accrued for the entity, not of Arun Kumar, not of an individual. And when I talk about the balance sheet out there, we talk about whatever aspects are owned by the entity and whatever aspects the entity owes to somebody out there. That is what we are talking. We are individual and enterprise, whatever business is separate. That is what we call it as the entity concept. So when we say, oh, so much is owed, it is owed by the entity. See, I might have taken a personal loan from a bank for about 5 lakhs. My company has taken a loan from a bank for 50 lakhs. So, the company owes 50 lakhs to the bank, I owe 5 lakh to the bank. The amount of loan that I have taken 5 lakh is on me. It is my responsibility to pay, not my business's responsibility. My business has taken a 50 lakh loan, it is the responsibility of the business to pay 50 lakhs out there, not my responsibility individual as an individual. So, what is happening? When we say what is owned and what is owned by the enterprise and what is owed by the enterprise. Whatever is what we own is what we call it as asset. Whatever is owed is what we call it as liability. Whatever is owed by the enterprise is what we call it as the liability. Now, whatever you own can keep changing every minute. Whatever you owe can keep changing every minute. Let us take one example. That is where it is at a particular point of time. Imagine you open your wallet, you find a bundle of 500 rupee notes. You say, I have about 50,000 rupees cash in my wallet. Who owns the money? You own the money, and that is owned by you. That is an asset which is owned by you. You go shopping and you keep paying cash at every stage. So, what is happening? At every point of time, the asset what you have is changing. The asset what you have is continuously reducing. That is, you keep paying out of your wallet. So, 9 a.m. you start shopping. You had 50,000 rupees in your wallet. By 10 a.m. you have finished shopping for about 15,000 rupees. So, what is the asset you own? Not 50,000. The asset what you own is only about 35,000 now. 50 minus 15 is 35,000. So, what happens? At a point of time, your asset, the position of what you owe has changed. Similarly, for a business, cash can keep coming in, cash can keep going out at every point of time. They can keep purchasing, they can keep selling. So, normally what happens? That is where we say it is the position of the assets and the liabilities at a particular point of time. So, what we say, balance sheet is always on a date. What do you mean on a date? On a date means at the end of the day. They will say profit and loss for the financial year 22-23, balance sheet as of 31st of March 2023. Please note, there are two different things out there. Profit and loss statement for the financial year 22-23. That means it is for the entire time period of 1st April 22 to 31st of March 23. Balance sheet as of 31st of March 2023. That means on 31st of March 2023, this is the position of what you own and what you owe. That's it. 31st of March 2023 means at the end of the day, at the end of the whatever normal working period, this is what you own and this is what you owe. And that is what it is. So, balance sheet is always on a date. Income statement is always for a specified time period. So, what happens? Balance sheet will give you details of what you own and what you owe out there. I hope I am clear with the basic contents of the income statement or profit and loss statement and the balance sheet. Now, next stage what we do is, I will just take up some Excel out there and give you some statements out there and talk about what you call it as the interactions between these. So, what am I talking about? What you own, what you owe. Now, let me go back to these transactions out there, what I talked about out here. First thing, I buy a product for cash. What happens? Moment you buy a product for cash, moment you buy some raw materials for cash out there, moment I buy some product for cash out there, what happens? My cash balance goes down, my asset is reducing. I buy raw material, I have not utilized. So, what happens? Another asset, the raw material which I own, the asset is increasing. The next one, if I basically look at out here, I sell for cash. When I sell for cash, what happens in this particular case out there? And when I sell for cash, what happens? The finished goods what I own is going out, that is reducing out there, asset is reducing. Cash is coming in, asset increasing out there, what I own is increasing. So, what am I trying to say? Every transaction will impact the financial statement of balance sheet and P&L. Sir, you talked only about balance sheet. Will it not impact P&L? Yes. I sold good, for whatever it is for cash. Moment I sell, what happens? My revenue increases. My revenue increases out there. So, what is happening in this particular case out here? Every transaction will find a place in the balance sheet and the income statement out there. So, that is where I will talk only about balance sheet and income statement. We will talk about the interactions between the balance sheet and income statement, take few examples, talk about the interactions between balance sheet and income statement, and then I will formally take up a set of transactions out there and walk you through the interactions between the income statement and the balance sheet. Okay, at least today whatever we discussed gave you an idea about what is the content of an income statement or a profit and loss statement and the content of a balance sheet. We will revisit when we start with the statements in the next class. Thank you.